This is the Griffin Podcast, episode number 113. We continue in our agent plan this week, and the question on the table is, who is your ideal client? Are you a home seller or a home buyer who has questions about selling or buying residential property? Or maybe you're an agent who needs a plan, but you can't find an easy way to get your answers. Any of you? Well, then you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of The Griffin and the host of the Ask-A-Griffin podcast, and to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction. If you're a seller, buyer, or agent, like I said, you can take advantage of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin courses.com. It's on demand. It's digital. It's right there. You can get them now for free. All right, let's get started. In this episode, I want to talk about and answer the question, who is your ideal client? Because this is something that agents don't give enough thought to. You get your license, you're enthusiastic, you can't wait to start, you really have no plan, it's all energy and it's all muscle, and you say, I'll help anybody. Just give me somebody to help. Because that's what I did. And I coach a lot of people, and that's what they do. And it's not the best thing, because what you have to understand, first of all, is this is a business. And when you're starting a business, it is important to think about who the ideal client is, because a lot of the business decisions that you make should be, and then will be, if you do this right or correctly, you will make business decisions that try to attract that ideal client. So here's the first point, right? You must understand the deep meaning of avatar. Now, this is a word, I know there's a movie out there, Avatar, but in a marketing context, the word avatar means basically ideal client profile. That's what you're looking for, right? You're trying to come up with an ideal client profile. And it's very, very important to think about this, because here's the mistake that I made as an agent originally. I really like, and it feels good for me, when somebody appreciates that I take a more academic approach to understanding how the process of selling a house especially really goes, and buying for that matter. And I think about this a lot. You can see all the books behind me. That's just a fraction of what I've read, what I listen to, what I write about, what I think about, what I assimilate. I do a lot of work. And so what that means is my approach, not complicated, by the way. What I learned after all this reading, writing, and thinking is that I really simplify things, that the simplest solution is indeed the best one most of the time, that there's no reason to complicate things. And like I say in jest a lot, there's no reason to complicate a butter sandwich. It is what it is. It's pretty straightforward, right? So I want to think about who would appreciate all this work. Wouldn't that feel nice if I did this work and I presented my findings to a seller and they actually appreciated it? So the first time that I started really thinking about that was I started thinking about all their geography and the price range within which they would be selling. And obviously, from a profit standpoint and wanting to be a profitable agent and have a profitable agent business, that's a wise thought. It's a very difficult thing to make your living strictly in low-end properties where there are distressed sales all the time and you're navigating an enormity of financial problems. Not that I didn't do a lot of that myself, and not that I wouldn't help anybody who needs the help, but I have to think like a business person, and I have to sustain this business. And in my case, it's clearly my full-time living. It needs to work for my family. They want it to work too. And as an entrepreneur, I'd be foolish to think otherwise. So avatar matters. So geography is one thing, but let me get into the second point here. This is what I've learned over the years about the deeper layers of avatar, that the most important aspect of an avatar or ideal client is actually their reason to act. So if I go back to the obvious financial decisions, and my best advice to an agent is make sure you have a healthy dose of targeting median and above price sellers for the area within which you want to work. That's just sound financial advice. But even in that bracket, the most important aspect I have found of the avatar is that they need a reason why they're going to sell their property, why they're going to buy. Because if somebody's just a dabbler, and you have a lot of people that you'll stumble into as an agent in your lead generation that are just whimsically curious about real estate. It just happens to be one of those things that humans are fascinated by. It's one of the greatest and largest usages of the internet is to peer into the lifestyles and the homes of other people. It's just what we do, especially higher end. It's just fascinating to see how the half of 1% in some cases really live. What do they own? What is it like? It's fascinating. But that's just whimsical inquiry. And a lot of lead generation companies sell off these leads as if they're actually motivated sellers, and they're not. So how do you really determine if you're talking to somebody whether they could be a good avatar or ideal client for you? Well, don't just get caught up in the fact that they were referred or they fit the geography or they're familiar with you. They have to have their own reason why they want to do this, not yours, not you bullying them into this. Well, what if I could do this? And what if I could? That's pestering. It's okay to ask provocative questions and maybe solve the problems that get them to move in the direction. But if you're using all these techniques and tactics and the person in front of you doesn't have a why, it's not a good avatar. The third point is, once they have a why, it still doesn't mean the timing within which they want to sell or buy a property matches yours as an agent. So it's very important also, I found, to clarify with the avatar. So again, let's assume they're meeting some of the basic financial criteria. They have a why that sounds interestingly strong. And now you have to say, look, let's frame the timing. See, a lot of people say, well, when do you think you might? Well, I like to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you right now to sell that property, to buy that property? You have a good reason, but try to do this. And there's something amazing about framing questions like that. They're therapeutic, I think. Meaning, instead of me pestering and trying to grab it, I give them something to play with. So why are you doing this is a thought for them to play with and think about it and really try to come up with an answer. Most people don't take the time to ask the avatar. Next, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you? Well, that makes them frame in their mind because, see, at the subconscious level, there's so much already going on that they might not be conscious of. They can usually spit out a number. Well, quick thought, I'm a 6. Why so low? Because you see, that's not an ideal avatar for you. If you don't hear something that is 9 to 10, then they're certainly not right now. 8's getting close, but there's still some sort of an obstacle. And I think that's where you can get into some of the solvables. Well, what would make you a 9 to 10? Because you're close, but you're not really motivated like what most of our clients were before they went to sell or buy their property. See what I mean? It's therapeutic. You're leading the witness to give you their own answers and their own motivations and their own timing with the right questions. And a lot of the time we talk over people when we're asking these questions, and then they start to answer. And in our enthusiasm, we start tripping all over them. Shh. I know, hard for me to say, right? I'm a talking head when you see me here, but I'm not when I'm in this mode. I listen because I need to know that I have a high probability of helping this person now. Maybe it's soon, but if it's way later and it's whimsical, I can't commit my business resources to somebody who doesn't have a real why and a motivation to do so inside the next 12 months. It's just such a burden on the business to try to fulfill for that person. I have systems that could go forever, but it's just not wise. I have to work from who's soon and work outwards as we grow. The fourth point is, your ideal avatar will also or should also be open to your ongoing help. See, a lot of us will meet somebody. So, for example, I was doing an open house this weekend, and there were a lot of wonderful younger people. This happens to be in a part of Boston just outside of Boston, different city, called Somerville, Massachusetts, where it's contiguous to Cambridge. Think Harvard, think MIT, right? It's right there. So there's just a lot of wealth has been created. Suddenly, massive companies. Novartis just took over 1 million square feet in East Cambridge. So you're echoing the effect of it's this gentrification of Cambridge, pushing into Somerville, which is starting to gentrify too, and things are just getting expensive. And I'm there prepared to help the buyers who come in and don't like the listing, or they're just early in the process. So I have these packages of information for buyers. And this weekend I had 2 buyers show up. One guy I couldn't give the package of information to because he was mobile and he didn't want to carry it around. But I went through all of it with him and told him, I will email this all to you. And the other gal, I immediately got in touch with my wife to begin acting as if I were her buyer agent to get her pre-qualified because she was walking around shopping and not knowing anything. See, both of them accepted the help. Now, there were others that came in, and when I had some conversations, they weren't as open. Even though they didn't put down that they had a realtor, they weren't as open. So that's not my ideal avatar. The one who's enthusiastic about me educating them and saying, wow, this is super helpful. Thank you so much. That's an ideal avatar from that standpoint, right? They want the help. Now, number 5 is once you're there, though, you'll have to protect that avatar. Because, for example, in those cases, they're now prospects. That means I have to continue to fulfill my follow-up and fulfill the information that I promised in that moment. I'm only as good. I just did a conversation on my other podcast, The Realty Classroom. I just did this about personal brand. What does my personal brand stand for? It's helping these people. Great. But I'm only as good as the fulfillment on the help that I promised, right? So I really need to protect that relationship or it will atrophy and go away. Okay. Number 6. You should never expect action from your avatar. You should never expect it. And what does that mean? That means that you always presume as an agent, oh, this is going so well. We're such a great meeting. But you don't know them that well. This is a very light business relationship. And so when you say, oh, they ghosted me, and I haven't heard from them. So what? Keep serving until they suddenly pop up. That just happened to us the other day twice. 2 people that have been dark through the winter because they didn't really want to make a decision about selling their houses until the spring. They both inbound called us. Inbound. Okay, so we got lucky. But you know why they inbounded us? Because we were outbounding constantly, sending information, emailing it, mailing it, keeping them informed. So we're maintaining that position, never expecting them to take action. And we keep going until they buy with us, meaning they accept our services in a client relationship, or they go away. They tell us to go away. Fine, no problem. But we never expect action from them. Never, ever, ever, I tell my team, expect them to do anything. Don't wait on them. Be proactive. And the last point here, point number 7, is be sure to pursue the avatar of your dreams from the start. This is a big mistake that most agents make. Now, again, my best advice to agents is, and again, sorry, I'm putting a heavy coaching hat on from my other brand, The Realty Classroom, where I coach top producers, but I want to share with any agent. When you get into this business, don't let somebody tell you, oh, you have to cut your teeth on rentals before you can ever sell anything. Oh, you'll have to do low-end listings before you can do high-end. All of that is really bad advice if that's not what you want to do. If you want to do those things, wonderful. But if you wanted to, say, become a luxury real estate agent, you need to focus on that avatar from day one. Because where you're wrong about your assumptions is that you think you need a resume. You think you need longevity in the business. No, you need information for a luxury seller, a luxury buyer, or higher end, whatever you determine, median price and above. You need the proper information to give them so that they feel empowered by you, and then they want your help and they want you to follow up. That's got nothing to do with the length of your resume and everything to do with your curation, organization, and delivery of empowering information to the person that you want to be your avatar. Okay? So let me hit these 7 points in summary. We're in the agent plan, and a question on the table is, who is your ideal client, agent? Number 1, you must understand the deep meaning of the word avatar. And in marketing, that means the profile of your ideal client. 2, the most important aspect of an avatar is their reason to act, not your hope that they'll act or you forcing them to, their reason to act. 3, to clarify their timing, you have to ask good framing questions, such as, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you? 4, your ideal avatar will be open to your ongoing help. That means they're not going to just like you one day, but they're open and they continue to communicate. Okay. 5, your avatar, however, will need to be protected because somebody else will outserve them right? I mean, meaning they'll outserve you in a competitive way and they'll go away because they're getting better service from somebody else. So they have to be protected. 6, you should never expect action from your avatar. It's not on them. It's on you. This is your business to serve them. Don't wait for them. 7, be sure to pursue the avatar of your dreams from the start as an agent. Stop letting people tell you that you can't do high-end business from the start. All right. I'll summarize it by saying most agents do not have a formal education in marketing and are therefore unaware of the term avatar, which refers to the profile of the perfect customer. In real estate, it's easy to choose an avatar by geography and price range. However, it's even more critical to understand the psychographics of why the avatar is taking action and how motivated they are to take that action. Yet the most important factor in determining avatar is to truly pursue the ideal customer from the beginning of your career and never be satisfied with a plan B avatar if you want to be long-term successful and build a sustainable, predictable business. All right, remember, you can take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you're a seller, buyer, or agent who wants help by getting a copy of our free step-by-step guides at griffincourses.com. That's GRIFFIN courses.com. Also, don't forget, you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also post our content on YouTube, so don't forget to subscribe to The Griffin channel. We'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with home sellers and buyers or real estate agents so that they can get the help that they need. But remember this, we sign off the same way all the time. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So take action and get to work on a plan for buying or selling property or becoming a successful real estate agent. And we'll see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you.